What is going on, everybody? ZyoniK here, and in today's video I am going to be running a double confusion core with Shadow Execute and Shadow Slowpoke. This combination is so deadly and so oppressive because of the raw damage that it can do in a 500 combat power cup. We're also utilizing Seal there on the safe swap with Icy Wind to help out against those grass type Pokemon. Alright, getting into the first battle, we have Execute on the lead versus Chinchou. Now I will say, the majority of my games with this team was against a Chinchou lead. It has been so common, but I just want you guys to notice how much damage. Look at that, 4 confusions, and it's below 50% HP. Now, we're going to go ahead and give up a shield here on the Thunderbolt. It is resisted, but it does a lot of damage, and this now allows us to safely fully farm down here because they won't be able to get to a second Thunderbolt in time, which means this is just going to be a Bubble Beam. Now they decide to bring in a Ducklet, and I also, from yesterday's video, I wasn't running Ancient Power, but I decided to unlock that second charge move today, and it was worth it! 50% HP right there, as we now swap out into Seal and draw out a Bulbasaur. This is going to be a good game. Icy Wind not only applies that debuff, but does that super effective damage, and in a 500 combat power cup, like the Element Cup, it's going to be forcing shields because you're going to one-shot almost every single grass-type Pokemon. Now we're going to go ahead and let the Seed Bomb go through. Unfortunately, that's not enough to KO us, which they will be able to farm down. But our win condition here is now with Shadow Slowpoke, and this is what this team is built around. Is just doing so much neutral damage with Confusion that one of your 2 Confusion users is going to sweep a team. So we see the Ducklet come in, so we're going to go ahead and just throw this Ancient Power, and then we're going to swap out into the Slowpoke and then just Confusion down. There is nothing they can do. You cannot get to 2 Brave Birds in time. It's over. It's a wrap. So that is going to be a good game. They do go for the Bubble Beam Shield Bait, but it's not enough. Shadow Confusion is just way too good. Now you guys will see in this video what does well against this team. It's in here. I face off against it. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and I'm telling you guys in this video, you're going to see a lot of Chinchou leads. It's what I faced. Now we see a Vulpix lead, so I'm going to go ahead and swap into the Seal. And what's really nice about the Seal matchup in both locking down Fire-type Pokemon and as a safe swap battling against Grass-type Pokemon is you have super effective coverage with Aqua Tail and Icy Wind. Aqua Tail here for the Vulpix. So it's going to be forcing shields as they decide to shield that first one, and we don't need to shield just yet. In fact, I don't necessarily need Switch in order to win this game. I need a shield advantage, which is pretty important with this team if you have the opportunity to get it. So I'm going to go ahead and go for another Aqua Tail here. If I get 2-0 shields, it doesn't matter. The Shadow Slowpoke will Confusion down this whole team, but they decide to let it go. So we take Switch advantage and shield advantage, and now the Chinchou won't have enough energy from farming us down to be a huge threat against the Execute. If they were able to do a big farm down, then it would be different. Now we do have the Ducklet come in, so I'm going to go ahead and go for Ancient Power, but I make a slight mistake. I should have just swapped out into Slowpoke right away, as now I decided to shield the Bubble Beam, second guessing myself that it would have been an Aerial Ace. So I go for the Ancient Power here to force that final shield, and now it's a 1-0 shield situation, which means it's going to be a good game. We can safely shield the potential Brave Bird here, and then Psyshock the Chinchou. And this is what I'm talking about. This team, these 2 Pokemon, Execute and Slowpoke, are just so strong. It is very hard to take them down, but like I said earlier, there is a Pokemon, maybe 2, that can handle this core. So you might see an uptick in usage of that, or you might want to run it yourself to face off against this team. So Thunderbolt is going to be taking out the Slowpoke, and then we Confusion down, and that's how we're winning, just Confusion damage. Alright, moving to the next one. We have Execute versus Chinchou again. I can only give you the battles that I did, alright? Now we see a safe swap into Execute, so I'm going to go ahead and come in with Seal. And this is a unique situation where we are actually, even though we're a water type, we're doing good in this matchup because Lick does super effective damage. You could run with Ice Shard if you want to, but I'm just going with the Lick, and I'm going to go ahead and now go for an Aqua Tail here because it should be enough resisted damage to take them out, and it's lower energy, so they might, if they shield it, I can get to another one. But we do take out the Execute. And now this is a situation where earlier Chinchou couldn't get a lot of energy from us, which didn't threaten our Execute on the back end, but now it can farm down this Seal because we're only doing resisted damage. But thankfully, because of Lick and Icy Wind, we are actually going to be able to chunk this Chinchou down to the point where one Confusion will probably take it out. So we're going to go ahead and go for another Icy Wind. They decide to let it all go through, which is fine. They're committing to the full farm down. I'm going to go ahead and come in with the Exeggcute. They swap out into a Cottony! This is one of those Pokemon. Cottony right here has the bulk when it comes to, it's not necessarily its typing, right? Because it still takes neutral damage from psychic type moves, but its raw bulk and its stats allows it to survive a lot of the confusion damage and be able to take out both of my Pokemon here, because I'm not going to be able to do a lot. As you guys can see, I'm just getting chunked by Charm. So this is a very, very tough one, as they will fully take us out, and that is going to be a good game, very well played. That's one of the Pokemon. All right, Exeggcute now versus Chinchou. Faced every single game. All right, they go ahead and swap out into a Cottony, so I'm going to go ahead and come in with Seal. This is basically our best answer because of Icy Wind and the Lick damage, and our bulk as well. From just the Seal base stats plus the attack drop that we will get from Icy Wind, so Charm isn't doing as much damage. Now, we get a shield right there, which is good. We're going to go ahead and look to shield ourselves because we want to maintain switch advantage, so we have Exeggcute versus the Chinchou on the back end. But now we're going to be going for another Icy Wind, just in case they decide to double shield, because they might just be able to charm me down. But they decide to let it go, which is fine. Now, this is the opportunity for Chinchou to come in and farm down, but they don't get too much energy. Five sparks right there isn't too bad. And Exeggcute right here should be able to survive a Thunderbolt. It hurts, but you can survive it. I don't want to give it my final shield in this situation. So we survive it right there. We see that they're deciding to stand, so I'm going to go ahead and go for the Seed Bomb now to take them out. And then I'm going to have to fast swap into Slowpoke to close this game out. But they instead decide to try to farm me down, and we simultaneously KO, which now is going to unleash the Slowpoke versus the Ducklet, and we have one shield. So this is going to be a good game, as they're going to go ahead and throw a Brave Bird here. I don't want to get caught trying to predict a Bubble Beam. You just safely shield this charge move, whatever it is, because now the Psyshock should be able to take him out, and they decided to surrender right there. So that is going to be a good game, very well played. All right, moving to the next one. Will we see a Chinchou lead? Nope, we won't. Lileep. This is another Pokemon that has the opportunity to Core Break. It has Infestation as a fast move, which does super effective damage against Psychic-type Pokemon, and it also has Grass Knot. So Lileep is, we're actually going to see 3 Pokemon today. So we got Cottony, we got Lileep, and there's going to be a third one, which I think is the deadliest of the lot. But we go ahead and draw out a Chinchou, which is really nice, considering that it can free up the Slowpoke a bit on the back end, and that they're going to have to throw a charge move in order to take us out. But we already gave up one shield against Grass Knot, so I'm not going to give up a second one, and they went for the Bubble Beam shield bait. I'm not giving up a shield here in this mid-game. I need to save a shield for one of my Confusion users in order to win, and now Seal has a great opportunity to potentially take down the Chinchou. So they're going to go ahead and throw another charge move. I'm going to let it go. If it is another Bubble Beam, which it is, I'm going to swap back out into the Exeggcute and get ahead on energy and take out the Chinchou. That is beautiful. We were able to save our Seal, which is huge. Now, we're going to see a Ducklet come into this matchup, and now we're kind of stuck in here because we did swap back in, so our switch timer is down, but we can safely go for Ancient Power to force a shield right here from the opponent, and now we have a much better opportunity to win this game with both Seal and Slowpoke. So I'm going to go ahead and save that final shield. They do decide to Bubble Beam me again. I'm not giving up a shield here, and they decide now to come in with Lileep and throw energy instead of trying to commit to the farm down, which is perfect because Ancient Power is going to be taking us out. And now we're going to go ahead and come in with the Seal right here and look to go for an Icy Wind. This does super effective damage and should KO unless if we get that final shield, so be it. But they decide to let it go, which you guys know how this is going to end. Shadow Slowpoke is just going to Confusion down. That is going to be a good game. Now, Lileep can be tough for this team to handle in the right situations. I think they stayed in a bit too long, but if it's hidden in the back, my only win condition is basically to no shield the Brave Bird and then farm down with Seal. So we are able to win that game. All right, moving to the next one, we got Exeggcute versus Ducklet here on the lead. So kind of a tough lead matchup. We're going to have to swap out right away. We go into the Seal to get ahead on energy, and they are building up quite a bit. So I'm going to go ahead and look to go for Icy Wind here. I want to apply this debuff before they throw a potential Brave Bird. But what's likely going to happen now is they swap out, which they do. And we draw out a Wooper, which is okay. This whole team does pretty well against Wooper. But at least I can apply the Icy Wind debuffs now in this situation. So when Wooper faces off against my Exeggcute here in the mid game, we can actually survive a lot better because body slams do put a big hurt on neutral damage in this meta. So we get an attack drop right there and a no shield. And now what we're going to do is go for an Aqua Tail because I'm going to be close. I think I'm going to be close enough to be able to survive, which I am. So I'm going to desperately try to get to this Aqua Tail, and we do. This is neutral damage, and it should KO the Wooper, so it's going to be forcing that shield from them, which is exactly what we want. Now, they are able to farm down, but Exeggcute here can easily survive 2 body slams thanks to the Icy Wind debuff. It still does a good amount of damage, but you got to remember there is a Brave Bird on the back end from a Ducklet, so we have to fear that more than we fear these body slams. So we're going to go ahead and no shield both of these, and then we see them swap out, and I over-click right there way too long, and I'm going to go ahead and shield. I don't want to get hit with the blind Brave Bird, but they decide to bubble beam me, and now this is definitely going to be a Brave Bird, so I have to give up 2 shields in this situation. This is why Ducklet can be so tough to handle as we shield that, and now they swap in a Vulpix. So this is actually kind of a tough situation. I wish I had a shield left, because if we did, we can easily win this game, but I don't. So unfortunately for me, this Vulpix is looking to destroy me, as it should be able to get off 2 body slams to close this game out. So there's the first one. They're going to be able to farm down, and now we're going to go ahead and go down to another body slam. That's going to be a good game. So tough one right there. Ultimately, it was that stored energy on the Ducklet that really threw us off. And I think had I not done an overtap with my Exeggcute and just gone straight into Slowpoke, we might have been okay. All right, we got a Pink Lemonade Darumaka right here, which is fun to see, as we're going to go ahead and safe swap into Seal, and they bring in a Lotad. Now, this Lotad has Water Gun, which makes this matchup so good, because we can safely shield the potential energy balls that they do have access to while dropping the attack and doing neutral damage with both Icy Wind and Lick here. So we're going to go ahead and just give up shields. We're looking to take switch advantage if we can, because on the back end of this, I should have a good amount of energy for whatever they have in the back. The Aqua Tail for the Darumaka and Icy Wind for whatever else could be back there. So the Icy Wind is going to get shielded again, which is perfectly fine. I'm happy with this. I know I said we need shield advantage, but if you can easily take switch right here in the mid game with the 2 shields down on both sides, fully farm down, and have this much energy on a Seal, it's going to be worth it. So let's see what they decide to come in with. It's going to be an Exeggcute. So we're going to go ahead and go for the Icy Wind here for super effective damage. We're also going to just try to bank a charge move and then swap into the Slowpoke, which now draws back out the Darumaka, which looks hilarious with its attack animation. It's just rolling backwards right there. But we will be able to KO now with the Psyshock because all shields are down, and, you know, Slowpoke goes to town. So that's going to be a good game. They really can't do anything right here as we KO with Confusion. All right. Moving into the next battle, we have Exeggcute on the lead versus Chinchou once again. A shiny one this time. So let's see how our opponent decides to play this. They're going to go ahead and swap out into Ducklet, so we're going to bring in that Seal for this matchup. Again, we got to watch out for that Brave Bird. But I put up a shield, but I felt like that was quick. And no, it wasn't. It was a Brave Bird. So that's a good shield right there, but I put up the shield so quickly that I then was second guessing myself when I shielded. I'm like, hold up. That might have been just a Bubble Beam. But thankfully, it was a Brave Bird, and we do take out the Ducklet, and they're going to come back in with Chinchou and really load up on energy. And this is kind of tough because the Chinchou now can get so much energy, but ultimately, I think we still can put some pressure here with Seal because we're doing so much neutral damage that it actually forces them to throw, which is okay with me. So we're going to go ahead and let this go through. We're going to come in with that Exeggcute, and this Dewpider. This is the Pokemon that deletes this team. It shreds, absolutely shreds Psychic type Pokemon. It is so tough for us to handle. Just look at this thing just chunking through us right here. Thankfully, I do have a shield left, but it also has Bubble Beam, and this is the deadly combination. Bug Bite and Bubble Beam just makes my confusion useless, and it shreds me apart. So if you're looking for Pokemon to run to counter a double confusion team core, you want to run Pokemon like Cottony, Dewpider, and Lileep. They have what it takes, and I just get deleted right there by a Dewpider. But it's good to see that, you know what? This is Pokemon, right? There are always checks and balances. All right, moving into the final battle, we got a Slugma here on the lead, so we're going to go ahead and swap out right away into Seal, get ahead on energy, and we draw out a Bulbasaur, which is perfect here for the Seal because of Icy Wind. And unfortunately for me, they beat me to the charge move, but I will give up a shield here because I want to take this into the ones and potentially get off a second Icy Wind for free if I can survive the next Seed Bomb. I probably won't, but I want to see if I can anyways. Now, I'm looking to actually go for the Aqua Tail, which I do get to, but unfortunately not in time. So they're going to go ahead and throw their energy, and this is actually, I think, an okay situation. We got ourselves into the one. We're going to be able to farm down with Exeggcute, with Confusion. We can safely no shield because they don't have enough energy for Sludge Bomb. This is just going to be a Seed Bomb. And then we have Ancient Power for Slugma. So let's see what decides to come in. It's actually going to be a Ducklet. So we have Ancient Power for both Pokemon, which is huge because forcing the final shield of this game is what's going to allow Slowpoke to sweep. So we do get the final shield. We're going to go ahead and swap out into that Slowpoke, get ahead on energy. And now this is tough. I'm like, I'm going to go ahead and shield, and it was just a Bubble Beam, unfortunately for me, as they now swap out into Slugma. So we're going to go ahead and go for the Psyshock. Now, this is still going to be a close game. I decided to throw right away because I wasn't sure the full moveset there on Slugma, but Ducklet here is going to have to throw a Brave Bird in order to take us out. If it is just a Bubble Beam, it will not be enough. It is a Bubble Beam, so we survive, and now we can Confusion down and actually go for a Psyshock here. So that is going to be a good battle, very well played. We put them in a tough corner, right? They Brave Bird me, then we do one Confusion with Exeggcute, and it's over. They Bubble Beam me, and we do one Confusion and a Psyshock with Slowpoke, and it's over. So it's like a checkmate situation. But overall, this team was very, very fun. Double Shadow Confusion with Exeggcute and Slowpoke and a Seal Safe Swap. Again, there are good counters to this team, which is going to be that Dewpider, the Lileep, and the Cottony. It's kind of tough to handle, especially when they have shields. But overall, every Pokemon has checks and balances. But I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Remember, it is 3 times Stardust, so be sure to kind of rack in that Stardust for the start of the new season, as hopefully there will be a lot of updates that we will see. So hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and like always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.